It's April 25th. This is not diary. This is lesson in critical thinking. I'm just doing some dishes. Rain stopped for now. Still not going to go into town today. Lessons in critical thinking. Look how far they are. Look how far they are. Okay? Every day at my campsite that I've been here, mine, I don't do pot, I smell marijuana. I was at Miracle Beach, which is the same camping operators as here. And there's a sign that says, cannabis is not allowed. I smell it here every day, and this is where the BC Parks elites supposedly come and spend some time, maybe among other places. So good luck with that, BC Society. Now, if you ask your specialists how much COVID-19 is responsible for deaths in BC, depending on how you define deaths and what causes them, like a quick incident or long-term, is you might find COVID is not in the top 5, not in the top 10. Let me give you an example of that. Before I started working, or at the beginning, I started working at Salt and Lalem Society, the First Nations treatment center for alcohol and drug addiction, and also residential school trauma. I was worried. I was worried because it's, I had to get the vaccines for hepatitis because, a lot of the clientels I have it, and some we know have it, and, there could be a case where you catch it. And, I was scared. There was already a lot of things stressing me out, but I decided to take that job and learn about this and how to avoid getting it and understand more about these concepts. So people might say, well, why did you do it if there was these risks? Well, no offense, but there's less risks when I was working at Salt and Lalem of using this porta potty here with the rednecks of the staff. It's been confirmed, which is very different culture of staff here, even though it's the same operator as the Miracle Beach one. So the staff, their level of competence in cleaning this, but other, rednecks here that do marijuana and that, probably don't wash their hands or things like that. So, it says risky here, but to have learned this makes me less stressed. So I had to take on the challenge of working at Salt and Lalem Society. And it's not a First Nations thing that scared me. It's the concept of something new to worry about that I didn't know too much about, like hepatitis, and the jobs that require like TB test. I didn't know about these things before. But once you learn about these things, like the science of it, your stress goes down. So and pushing through these challenges is part of the maturation process, and you become an adult eventually. So I don't meet other adults who have done this, 9 out of 10 of the times. So talking about, the cause of death. So let's say somebody dies of a heart attack. Okay, and the autopsy confirms it's a heart attack, right? It's really that easy to understand. Then, how much is the heart attack the cause if, let's say, this guy's wife had delicious recipes, but that they were unhealthy, for the, let's say, 25-year marriage, then, is the wife, the cause of his death. And, maybe she doesn't have in her family a gene predisposition for heart disease. So she didn't know, she made him happy, she loved him, she didn't want him to die. Or is it maybe that this guy, didn't have a doctor who said at one point, hey, what is, I'm keeping track of your cholesterol here. What is the kind of cooking your wife does? Oh, I love her recipes. It's healthy. It's got a potato, a meat, a vegetable. And then, the doctor doesn't ask too many questions because the client looks happy because they're not that good at asking questions, most of them. So it's the doctor maybe that didn't do this, before the 25 years, the cause of his death. So we're starting to approach the concept of ignorance, right? Not just one cause. And then there's the guy's ignorance. Like, why wouldn't he learn about himself, his own health, his own body, his own family history, about nutrition? So, if you add all these things, then, COVID-19, drugs, car accidents, all sorts of things people want to blame somebody else. Well, if somebody else is the 99.6% of you, including you, then yes, you lend your voice and you promote and you facilitate ignorance. So ignorance is the cause of your death. And in BC, or in places where, drug addiction is promoted by your governing bodies, your governments, your officials, including doctors, who will say, oh man, we've reduced the burden on the legal system. We were successful. This is a politician who's an MD. Okay, so what kind of long-term thinking? And that they actually believe their own beaver shit, that they think that they were successful as politicians, public servants, and doctors, health professionals, having done this in their career, and that they don't have enough of a conscience that it eats them inside and it's the cause of their own death as their own ignorance. It's pretty sad, but this is who I observe you to be as a species on a daily basis, even when I'm trying to get my ecocentric medicine out here in a beautiful forest.